On the elven-ruled forest world of Perianth, John Carmichael and Asena go on an epic, daring, intense, pulse-pounding shopping spree, and then prepare for their upcoming, actually world-ending threat sort of quests in order to continue to hunt down the flesh of Kur and end this terrible threat to all universes. I'm Tormented by Gnomes. This is Coriander Society Adventures. I am joined by Ninja Man Matt and Pods of War. Matt, how you doing?
I am doing fairly well. Today has been a day, and I am here to claim it and then finish it and then do it again.
Magnificent. Pods, what's up?
I'm great. I just ate sashimi.
Ooh.
Really? I love sashimi. Well, okay, tastes are totally different. Why are you eating sashimi?
Because it's good.
Wait, hold on. It's good for you, but you don't like eating it? Is that where we're at?
What? I love it.
Why'd you say you hate sashimi? Oh, you just ate. I thought you just said you hate sashimi, and I was like, then why are you eating it? Hey.
No, if you hate sashimi, you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If you hate sashimi,
that's
at Tormented by Gnomes in the comments because he misheard that.
When last we left our heroes on the forest planet of Perianth in the high city of Fluris, home to the House of Fluris and their allies, King Indogalad and Princess Adthea, John was off. I think you were off swapping dirty stories with Marikoth, right?
Yeah.
I think you're also
Very
muted.
much so. What? No.
No, he's not.
No, I'm not.
Did you scuff the stream?
Oh no, I'm muted.
You scuffed the stream.
This figures. I pressed
You're
one
not
button.
muted.
I couldn't hear you guys. I blame the cat.
I blame you. This seems
The chat
squarely
is like,
in the hands
no one
of
is muted.
Yeah, the cat. I blame the cat for adjusting my headphones. Anyways, John, you were or were not off swapping dirty stories with
Cat did
Marikoth?
not love me.
Yes. Sad.
She almost
day
did.
for Cat.
Groot ruined it. That's what he does.
Yes, John was off swapping dirty stories with Marikoth. Maybe a little more than just dirty stories, but at least dirty stories for sure.
Indeed. It was dirty. That's the one thing we know.
That's what we
Asena,
know.
you are in the quarters of Princess Adthea along with her handmaiden Mireth. The concern is, as you prepare to go to the Grove of Benthazel, the dryad who guards a tree grown from a piece of the flesh of Kur, the void dragon who mutates everything in his presence. You have powers over nature. You have the ability to turn boats into that one boat that blocked the canal. You did that like 50 episodes ago, probably more, actually. So your powers could be very helpful in this, but are those powers a two-way street? Could the corruption of the flesh of Kur affect you? In order to test this theory, Princess Adthea has presented you with a piece of the Night Twist, the original cursed tree that John cut down and then got himself cursed, which is why you had to do all that nonsense, again, like 50 episodes ago, going to the planet of Ashen. She presents you from a very carefully protected magical case, this piece of twisted, gnarled, purplish wood. And she said, try it on this. And that's where we left off.
Crazy. Am I gonna die?
We're all going to die
Maybe.
someday. The question is, will it be this episode or 50 episodes from now?
And will it be worth it?
Nope.
Nope.
Imagine Asena just dies in the most boring way.
In the first
don't
5
say
minutes
that.
of the episode. What do you do, Asena?
Can I just ask Adthea what you want me to try and do the same thing that I did with the stick?
Yes.
Well, normally it has to be a little piece, not a big stick.
She hands it to Mireth. Mireth pulls out a very sharp knife with a beautiful leather handle and cuts off a small piece and then hands it back to Adthea, who hands you the small piece.
Okay, yeah. This qualifies as a stick now. So
Do you have measurements or parameters for what does or does not qualify as a stick?
probably. I have not tested it. But I think it has to like it just has to be small, I think. I don't know.
But small on like a person scale or a cosmological scale? Small isn't a specific measurement. Small could mean a wide variety of things.
I don't know. I've literally only done this like 3 times.
Oh. Do you need more practice before we do this?
I think it's gonna be okay. It's either going to kill me or not.
I don't think it'll necessarily kill you.
Yeah, it just might hurt.
It could cause
something.
long-term mutation, corruption. It could affect your mind. It could cause a spiritual plague of some kind. It could give you the same curse that John had. There's
Cool,
a wide.
cool. You know what? I think it's best that we don't know. Is
Okay.
that okay?
But wait, do you mean you don't want to? So just proceed without knowing, right?
Yeah. Let's not go down the list, or else we're not gonna. Let's just turn this thing into a weapon.
Very good. And she holds it out to you again.
I'll grab the stick
Mm-hmm.
and then take a deep breath and try and turn it into like a staff.
Okay. Roll a Constitution saving throw, please. A 22. Okay. As you grab onto it and that primal energy flows through you, your hand feels queasy. That sort of fever feeling you get when your muscles are just uncomfortable and you want to stretch and then you want to pull back and you want to stretch and then you want to pull back. That unpleasant feverish ache. But in your hands, the dead wood, slowly you force life into it, and it creaks and cracks and groans as it expands all the way up, forming a staff with a ball of roots at the top that are tangled together and reaching out almost like claws. How do you feel?
Fine, I think.
Good. We don't have enough evidence to really say what the result is, but you're not dead, so we'll probably just go with that.
You said I wasn't gonna die.
I said there were I said you probably wouldn't die, and there were a wide variety of other possibilities, but you're not feeling any of those other things I described, right?
Well, sure, but I thought we were gonna find out if the wood affects me too.
Right.
I mean,
Do you
it
feel
does
affected?
a little bit.
What do you feel? Describe your sensations.
It just, my hand felt different.
Good different or bad different?
I'm gonna ask the DM if what the feeling that I had was bad.
Again, it was like the way your muscles feel when you're sick, when you have a fever.
Yeah. Okay. I guess it could be categorized as bad.
If you're having that
But
much
just
difficulty,
only slightly bad.
yes, if you're having that much difficulty telling, then I would say that this is probably, if not completely safe, then at least not so dangerous as to make it not worth the attempt.
So this is it. This was your grand experiment.
Well, if we had more time, we'd build something that would qualify as grand. I definitely wouldn't call this grand. I would say cursory. This is a cursory experiment.
Asena's going to take the staff and hold it out to her like hold it out in front of her and examine it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's gonna bop it on the head, like really tight, lightly.
As soon as you do that, you see Mireth like almost spring forward, like jumps and then halts herself and
How about that? How was that experiment? Are you okay?
yes. Though you didn't really administer adequate force for that to deal any sort of long-term effect.
Oh, would you like me to?
No. I think I can figure out what would happen if you hit me with it. Mireth quietly says, I can figure out what would happen if you hit her with it.
I'm not gonna hit her with the staff.
Quile, her familiar, the little squirrel creature with a unicorn horn, runs across the room to Adthea, runs up her leg onto her shoulder, and then chitters at you.
I'm gonna hold the staff out to the little squirrel.
Ah! Bites onto it.
And I tug on it.
Quile is yanked off of her shoulder and is now hanging from it by his teeth. Adthea holds out her hands and sort of grabs his sides and shakes him gently. He releases it, glares at you, and she sets him back down.
Oh. I can't tell if he liked it or didn't like it.
He didn't.
Oh, okay.
He'll get over it.
Well, should I keep this thing or
You can if
turn
you'd
it
like.
back into a stick?
She looks over. Mireth still has the larger dead piece. Adthea says, I would like to cut a piece of that one so that I can further analyze and see if there's any long-term magical effects now that you've revitalized it.
Oh, sure.
She gestures towards Mireth, who walks forward, grabs the end of the stick, cuts it off with her knife, and then wraps it up in cloth. You now have a slightly shorter nightmare stick.
Well, that was a bit anticlimactic. I thought, I don't know. Well, I didn't want to die, but
That's good. Anticlimactic means that you're going to be completely fine. Or at least that you're going to endure whatever horrors are dished out, because after all, this is a different sort of entity. The Night Twist was much more of a spiritual threat and an actual plant based on a curse, whereas the Flesh of Kor is a piece of an ancient chaos void dragon. So it's much more a biological threat, I would say, and an eldritch threat. So the effects could be completely different. But we know that it is, in fact, a two-way effect, that it affects you and you affect it, although it seems to mostly be in the other direction, so it's probably worth the risk.
I guess that is good to know. Hey, what do you think will happen if I hit John with it?
Well, the curse has already been removed from him, so I think he should be... It would depend on how hard you hit him.
That might be funny.
You can experiment on that later. Just don't... Maybe wait until after you've retrieved the flesh from the grove, so we can make sure that he's not too damaged to succeed in that.
Fair enough.
You do hit quite hard when you want to.
I've tried to hit less hard. It just doesn't work like that.
You didn't hit me very hard at all. I seem to be perfectly capable of restraint.
It's like a little tap. Okay, well, what now?
Well, do you know who's going with you to Benthazel's Grove? And were you going to Benthisel's Grove, or were you going to go assassinate that Ulitharid first?
Sounds like a really good question for John. I kind of left him at the shopping spree.
Well, I'm sure we can find him. She gestures over at Mireth, who bows and then walks out the door.
She doesn't really talk much. Like, you just kind of give her a command and she leaves.
We've known each other since before I could form real memories, I think. She mostly just talks to me.
Oh. So where is she going?
To find John.
But you don't know where, you don't care where she's going exactly. You
As
just
long as,
kind of just trust her to figure it out.
Of course. As long as he's somewhere within the city, I'm sure Mireth will be safe, and I'm sure that she'll find him. I've never had any reason to doubt Mireth.
How does she find people so quickly?
She asks for help, uses a little bit of magic, knows how to get around the tree. There's a couple of places where you can slide down vines and swing between branches that most people don't know about. I never use those. She does.
Why don't you use them?
Well, Father doesn't want me to fall and get hurt.
Would you fall and get hurt?
No. There's certain dignity that I'm expected to hold up, and swinging around on things is a difficult way to hold on to that dignity, and it's something that I have to be careful about while I'm in public.
How does your dignity fall off of you when you swing from trees?
Well, as a princess of the House of Floris, I should move through spaces slowly so everyone has time to see me, and it doesn't look like I'm at all in a hurry, because if you look like you're in a hurry, then people think that you're frantic or frightened or have something to worry about. But a true monarch never shows that they have anything to worry about, because if they do, then that looks like weakness, and then the rivals can try to exploit that weakness.
So you're saying if there was some magic that could slow you down as you swang from tree to tree, that could work because you wouldn't look frantic.
No, I think I'd have to have somebody carrying me or flying.
Do they have to be slow?
Just not too fast. I have used some of the ropes from time to time, but only when I'm invisible. And there's too many people in the city who can see things that are invisible, so I don't risk it. I bet you'd be very good at it. You grew up in a forest, right? Mireth also grew up in the forest.
I could probably pick you up right now and we could go swinging.
It does
You're
sound
pretty small.
Everything's relative. You're pretty tall.
Should we go swinging?
She ponders for a moment, out of reach of her handmaiden, whose job it is to gently and cautiously advise her, kindly, making it sound like it's her own idea, against doing such things. Adthea mutters a word and snaps her fingers and then changes. The beautiful flowing golden hair, the elegant dress, is replaced by the garb of a wood elf merchant from the deep forest. Straight brown hair, unremarkable features, green forest robes and cloaks, all very utilitarian.
You
Yes.
are in disguise.
I am. Let's try it.
Okay, well.
Before Althea gets back.
um, lead the way to the secret path.
She walks towards the back of her bedroom, which again is all just these branch platforms. There's this looks like a spring, like a natural spring, even though it's in the middle of a tree that forms her bath, a bower for her to sleep in. And she just steps onto the bed and steps right past it and parts the curtains. And there's this huge overhang just through enormous leaves, providing more and more privacy screens beyond it. But this is way high up in the tree and overlooking far above some of the other branches that rise up. And she reaches up. It's a little bit difficult because she's short. And she grabs a frond and pulls it. And a very light, young, new growth string of the tree, so it's not hardened into wood. It's almost just like vines and leaves, but the leaves are as big as your head, slumps down as if it had been tucked up under there. She shakes it a couple of times to make sure it's good all the way, and then she says, okay.
Alrighty. Are you ready?
Yes. And she sort of holds her hands out to either side.
Asena will, like, scoop her up with one arm and then just full on grab this vine
Mm-hmm.
and just jump.
Roll acrobatics or athletics, your choice.
Okay, this is important.
26. Okay. Cue the Phil Collins music as you start swinging through the tree, just plummeting, sliding down it with this, absolute nothing waif of an elven princess on your arm. Just from here, it's easy for you to make your way just using the momentum of this springy thing to almost any other branch nearby. You do have to be acrobatic and strong and sort of have a sense for this sort of thing, because there's places where, yeah, I can swing to there, but if I can get a little bit higher and I can make this kind of tricky grab, then I can get to here and then I can slide down this branch and that opens up an entire other area. So yeah, camera follows you, log surfing, the whole Tarzan experience.
That's fun. I'm glad that went well, or else would have had a problem.
I'm sure you would have figured it out.
Yeah.
All right. And that can last as long as you'd like. John, how hard are you to find right now?
Well, currently, John is residing in a, you could say, a plush and comfortable recreational area within the court of Fluris, laughing merrily with a group of revelers. He is sitting down with Marikoth, surrounded by people of all sorts. There's hookah, there's a bit of that wonderful Mordain tea going around. Most are, imbibing it in terms of inhalants as you're normally supposed to. John had shared his story at Marikoth's insistence about how he drank some of the stuff and went on the most wild bender imaginable. And as everyone kept pushing forward, asking for more, exactly, asking for more and more details, the conversation went from being a little more grave to lighthearted. And when we check in with them, John finishes telling a joke. And I had asked them, have you ever heard of a sex rock? You know what they said? Well, what's a sex rock? And I said, it's rock. And then everyone begins laughing and merry. Yeah, exactly. So no, not too hard to find.
Human humor. Wow, how rustic. They're all right. So Mireth parts the curtain, the sort of silky curtain in this glowing, that faint blue teal party light going on, kind of like the first party that a lot of you went to the very first time that Asena decided to be a rock. You see the curtain part and the gleaming red eyes of the princess's handmaiden appear. she bows to you, doesn't enter the room, doesn't make a fuss, barely parts the curtain. Nobody else notices her, but she gives you a head nod and a meaningful look.
And with that, I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Our pleasantries will have to come to an end. Marikoth, you have my special orders. It will be some time, I'm sure, before you're able to acquire all the necessary reagents and to inquire about some of the more particular items on that list. John gives him a... Oh, go ahead.
I know of all people, John, you can be particular.
John chuckles, gives Marikoth a wink and a smile, and waves off to the rest as he leaves, his purse considerably lighter as he joins the Ethea's attendant, Mireth.
Mireth, the princess has requested your presence regarding the upcoming affairs.
Yes, of course. I'd be happy to oblige if you would but follow me, or rather, I'll follow you. Sorry, I'm a little bit lightheaded right now.
She cracks a smile and gives you a bow and will turn to lead you out. If you keep talking, she's not the kind to like stop listening to you when she starts walking, but she does start walking.
No, Mireth has an understanding. John and Mireth have a misunderstanding, or rather, they have an understanding with each other, and it's apparent that John is walking with a little bit of a spring in his step. He is absolutely delighted having been able to entertain a group of individuals that, while they may have been just doing courtly pleasantries as much as possible, John specifically went somewhere with Marikoth where the clientele would be a little less savory, more his kind of folk, and he was just pleasantly delighted and probably just ever so slightly inebriated, and he seems to be lost in thoughts. Mireth and John, when they've had time to spend together, normally just enjoy each other's presence, having explored all avenues of what he believes he's able to get, trying to find out about Molly's and Mireth's childhood experiences together. He won't press any further.
Okay. And she's content to let the silence sit. She's very comfortable with it. Doesn't bother her at all. Asena, when they get back, and it takes like at least half an hour in both directions. It's a big city. When they get back, are you there or are you elsewhere? Okay, this time I think you're muted.
Fine. I was. I think Asena would have been a little careful.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't think that they would have been out for more than an hour.
Mm-hmm. Once you got back, sorry, go ahead.
Like, maybe she was asking Althea, like, can you tell when she's close? Maybe we should just hang out right by the room.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then she sort of looks out over the passageway, the branch that she knows that Mireth will walk along. And it's got these archways above it and floating fairy lights. And so she spots her and then like pokes you in the side when she sees that she's on her way. Here they are. Here they are. You able to go ahead?
Okay, you ready for one last one to your room?
Yes. And she like grabs onto you determinedly.
Okay, we'll head back.
All right. I would like John and Asena to roll for initiative, please.
Okay.
What?
Sure.
John with a dirty
20.
20. Asena with a 16. All right. John, roll a perception check, please.
Rolling perception. John is slightly distracted from his inebriation, so I'm rolling with disadvantage. Oh,
Two 23s. Okay, that's fine. So, Asena, you swing in just as they're and just barely in time. Althea gets rid of her disguise, and you can see that her hair is just like completely messed up from flying through the trees and stuff, and there's bits of twigs and such in it. And so, John, when you arrive, Asena, roll a Constitution check, please.
Oh, okay.
22.
Oh, I did a save.
That's fine. You rolled big number instead of small number, so it's fine. An 18. Okay. Neither Asena nor Althea are out of breath, but you do arrive just as Althea is finishing prestidigitating her hair back into place and everything.
So does John notice anything out of... Oh, go ahead.
And roll an insight check, John.
Sure. 14.
Not your best work. Okay. Nope. You don't notice how, like, Althea switches right back into princess mode. So the whole bouncing on her heels, excited thing, and the, like, adrenaline rush, she just completely tunes it out. Totally blank face. Totally normal.
Nice.
So there's just a moment of you walking in and she's... Oh, good. John, you're here. You're
Something's up, but John doesn't care.
Hey, John, where you been?
I was off finishing the shopping. You had absconded with, I'm assuming, Althea, by Miareth coming to collect you. I finalized our orders with Marikov. He's going to see that we get the proper reagents and items we require. And I took a little time to just relax a bit until Miareth came and found me. I kind of figured she would. And here we are. How about yourself? How did it was an experiment you were doing, is that right?
It went well. I think she's going to do just fine.
What was it, this experiment?
Well, we were trying to see if like a piece of wood would affect me when I affect it. So I made this cool little nightmare staff thing.
Oh. What weird little piece of wood?
Matt, if she's carrying the nightmare staff, you can see it is clearly made from night twist wood.
Okay, I didn't know she was like holding it out. Okay, yeah.
Well, I didn't know that she was, but you said this nightmare stick, so I assumed it's in the scene and visible.
Oh yeah, I was kind of referring to this as in the one that they described.
No, it was it was hidden. I imagine it was hidden until she said she made this, and then she like pulls it out of sight because otherwise John would have reacted.
Yeah,
Asena
definitely.
will like pull it out and then be like, "Want to see it?" and like toss it to him.
How much does the stick weigh, mate?
It's pretty light. It weighs as much as a quarterstaff.
Okay, John's gonna use Mage Hand and catch it in the air right before it hits it. And he kind of looks it over, not quite touching it at any point, hovers his hand over the staff and kind of moves it around, making sure he can inspect it. What is John able to discern from this staff made of the night twist?
Well, it was dead, and the same effect that she's used on mobsters' doors and mobsters' boats to infuse them with life and cause them to grow again, that has been applied to this.
Is it giving off any kind of weird, either curse, magical, or otherwise, just different aura about it?
Yes, absolutely. It's not like she brought the night twist back to life. All right, it's not, you know, the curse of Corliss lives again. But it is in the same vein as something made from a dragon's bones. It's not the same as a dragon, but it's the echoes, the essence. It's still in there.
Okay. This is very well made. And John's gonna kind of waft it over towards Asena. Much like you always do. You've perfected your craft. You're even able to slightly reanimate a dead cursed object. You have collected quite an assortment of, dare I say, dark artifacts, Asena. It's a good thing we've made our pact with that angel that John absolutely knows the name of, that John
Oriel.
can't ever... Oriel, thank you. God, I always want to say Oreo, and I know it's not Oreo, so I'm very glad that
You
you
can probably
elf
call
or
him Oreo.
angelitized it. Oriel. Oriel. It's a good thing we made our pact with that being, so that way we wouldn't have to suffer any possible incursions that would encounter from us wielding these items. However, I feel perfectly capable, as do you. And yeah, just probably don't play with it that often unless you're meaning to hurt someone.
What other dark artifacts?
Well, I got a crown. I could talk to dead people.
Really? Where'd you get that? How does it work? Do they have interesting conversations? Are you actually speaking with the dead person's soul or their echo? How long can they have been dead and it still works?
A dream. I don't know. Yes, don't know.
Can I see it?
Sure.
My lady princess, the matter for which you had summoned John Carmichael. Right, Mireth, right, yes. John, are you going to the Benthazil Grove first, or are you going to do that other thing on the spider moon that my father had asked you to do?
It was my intention to take care of the homegrown problem first, so to speak. John chuckles at himself for his little woodland pun. And then we'll head off towards the spider moon to assassinate the
Ulitharid.
tentacle head. Thank you. Yes, the weird mind flayer.
All mind flayers are weird.
The weirder mind flayer.
That's fair.
Were you planning to accompany us?
Oh, no. No. I mean, if you asked and if Father permits, I'm sure that I could, but I don't think it would be necessary, right?
I would not mind asking. I do not believe your father would permit, nor do I believe she would either. And John indicates her handmaid.
I serve at my lady's pleasure.
Okay, well, your father most assuredly would not. However, I would be very happy to bring you along if you could secure such a thing. Or if he never found out, I would keep your secret. I think it's a good idea for you to be more worldly, to make your way out of the court, and with Asena and John Carmichael as your guides, no harm would befall you. You can rest assured.
Yes, done. We'll see to it. In the morning?
Perfect. However, one little bit, if it turns out that your father does figure out what has happened, it was not mine nor Asena's recommendation that you come along. I don't want that to... If it turns out that your plans don't go quite as thoroughly as you'd like, I don't want your father to feel like I'm breaking his confidence. But I'll obviously keep an eye out for you, and should the worst happen, it won't. So don't worry.
I won't. I never do.
I know. Well, if there's nothing else, I think I'm going to go finish my revelry. Stena, would you like to come?
Sure.
Perfect.
Bye, Anthea. Don't get too bored all cooped up in here.
I know, we're going to go off on some whirlwind adventure. It's too bad you can't come, but we'll tell you all about it when we return. Goodbye until then. Toodles.
Of course, very sad. Goodbye. As soon as you're out the door, you can just barely hear, and the door is in the process of closing. You can hear her excitedly talking to Mireth. And then when the door shuts, the privacy spell kicks in and total silence.
Nice.
The evening is yours.
What kind of revelry are we going to get into?
Well, I had gotten together with a group of, let's just say, they are certainly our kind of people. In the court of Fluris, they might be rabble-rousers of sorts, but for the most part, they just tell dirty jokes and they drink excessively. And Marikov, I think, is their king. I'm not entirely sure. He may be officially the treasurer of Fluris, but he's kind of the the prince of mayhem around Parian, as it were. Nothing dreadful, mind you, but generally he's invited to the best parties and he hosts the best parties and he makes sure that the parties that he goes to are always the best parties. But I figure let's go find out where Medwithin is and Zunio. I feel like we need to check in on Zunio. It's been quite a while that she's been here among the court, and I would like to see what happens when she lets herself go a bit. What do you say?
Sure, yeah.
Fantastic. All right, I think we'll find both of them in the court of the king. So, allons-y, as they say. And John's going to make a beeline for Indogalad's throne room.
Okay. When the two of you arrive walking up the mystical, enchanted, velvet, green carpeted stairs, you are blocked by the face-sworn paladins who keep that place, who inform you not that you are forbidden, but that the king has withdrawn to his chambers to take his rest, and that the court room is now adjourned for the evening.
Absolutely understandable. Thank you so much for letting us know. We actually did not have business with the king himself. We were looking for Medwithin and Zunio, the advisors to the king. Do you happen to know if they've retired back to their quarters or where they could be found at this time?
And you hear Zunil's voice coming up from just behind the throne. I never take my rest, John.
Perfect.
Paladin.
We're halfway there.
Paladin eyes over his shoulder and begrudgingly steps aside.
John tips his non-existent hat and, with a flourish, makes his way past the once guard, now open space, and makes his way towards the throne room where presumably Zuniel is residing invisibly.
She dispels her invisibility, and you see her standing just behind the seat that she was occupying earlier, with her hands, her elbows on it, resting.
Well, fancy seeing you here. I would assume you spend your time elsewhere when not in the presence of the king, but did they not afford you a place to stay while you're here? Is that kind of where you do your business and tend to spend all your time?
Your assumptions aren't my concern, and my lodging arrangements aren't yours, John.
I suppose you are correct, Zunio. Cold and presumably calculated as ever. I merely wish to have an audience with you and just see how you're getting along here. I know that you probably don't want me to ask, but I figured I might as well check in with you since I'm here.
I don't mind you asking, John, just when there's stupid questions.
You are correct. It was a very, very dumb question. I have another for you. Would you like to come out with us? Asena and I were going to look up Medwithin and then make our way across the finer places of Perianth in order to just see how the people are getting along. As advisor to the king, it would make sense that you not only are spending your time with the lofty highest positions of court, but also among the savory individuals and just see how things are getting along here.
I don't find such spaces particularly accommodating, and I have plenty of information already. My eyes and ears are...
Well, you sleep in a chair, so what do you know of accommodations? Come on, what would it hurt? Just come out with us.
No. The offer is kind and ill-informed, as always, but not malicious. But I decline. I am not fit for such things anymore. Roll a perception check, please, John.
Perception, okay.
And Asena, both of you.
And mate, while we're using dice and making checks, just to double check, did I get that inspiration for anything involving rocks for my earlier joke?
Oh, the joke! Oh, fine, you can have it.
Yay, thank you very kindly.
So, John, you notice the circular carpet underneath the king's throne over here shift slightly.
One more time?
The circular carpet, a bit of a distance away from Zuniel, shifts as if something just dragged across it.
Let me see something here real quick. Carpet shifts. Does there seem to be... Oh, first of all, what is this carpet made of, mate?
Really nice stuff. Finely woven, very, very rare mythical plants with elven names from the deep places of the forest, and silver and mithril fabric.
Is it a like kind of flattish rug, or is it like a little floofier?
It's flat
Like if someone
mostly.
was to
It's like
mostly
like a
flat.
like a
Okay.
soft, pliable tapestry.
A soft, pliable tapestry. So it'd be very difficult to see if someone was actually standing on it, but not if they shifted and kicked it and moved it like John
Correct.
possibly just saw. Okay. John is going to take a moment and focusing on his rod. He's going to take out the seafoam rod and kind of just like tap it to his head. Right now, it's in the shape of the fork that it usually is in whenever John's not using it for a different purpose. And he kind of just taps it to his head, does a little twirl as a thingamabob, kind of playing with it, and is going to try to disguise the casting of Detect Thoughts.
Okay.
As he considers what Zuniel has just said. And so with Detect Thoughts, he'd be able to read the thoughts of certain creatures in the area. Additionally, if there are creatures within 30 feet of him, he would be able to sense them as long as they have an intelligence greater than 3.
Okay. Well, the only thoughts that you're detecting are Zuniel's and the face-worn paladins and stuff.
Of
but
course.
They are scrambled. Not completely blank and withdrawn from you, but they are muddled, almost encoded, like a signal jammer. Also, Asena, what's on the top of your head right now as John is picking up surface thoughts?
I took that very literally and was like, what is on my head? I mean, Asena doesn't notice anything weird. She just feels like, I don't know, this girl doesn't want to party.
Let me just see. If John probes, I think if he messes up, they know that he probed. Give me just a moment. Where does it have the saving? Oh, here we go. All right. If you probe deeper, they make a wisdom saving throw. If they fail, you get insight into their emotional state and something that looms large in their mind. If it succeeds, the spell ends. Either way, the target knows. Oh, either way, the target knows you're probing. Okay. Okay. But you're saying that both the Paladins and Zuniel, their surface thoughts are all scrambled right now.
No, the Paladins, their surface thoughts are weird-ass advisor sitting behind the throne.
What was that, man?
Well, weird-ass advisor sitting behind the throne. I don't like her, but the king likes her, so I'm going to deal with this because that's my oath.
Okay.
Only Zuniel's are scrambled.
I see. Okay. Well, Zuniel, again, I'm only at a loss because I know very little about you other than you spent a long time trying to kill me. Enlighten me. What is it that I am ignorant of? And I don't mind hearing it out in the slightest.
It's a long list. My lifespan probably is going to reach 700s, and I don't think I have enough time to cover everything you're ignorant of.
Well, thankfully, you don't have to cover literally everything in the cosmos, just in relation to you. I can't imagine you're so complicated in that it wouldn't spend just an afternoon's conversation to figure out.
Full persuasion check.
Persuasion. That's a natural 1. No, it's not. I'm going to spend a lucky die and do that again. With a 22, John's going to roll a deduction die before you tell me if that's a success or a failure. And that's going to be a 25. If John failed, I have a D4 that I can add.
She has a wry smile and she looks over at the rug underneath the king's throne, and it keeps twitching. How many times did you get the best of me? There was a time you blew up my ship.
Yes.
And then there was the time that you blew up my ship.
Yes.
Was that all? I can't recall.
Well, then there was the time that you tried to get a dragon to eat me, and instead I had the dragon blow up your people.
Yes, but you blew up my ship that time too. Sort of.
Oh, I just wanted to be thorough with, how
Mm,
it ended up going down. But yes,
yes. Well, everything that I did was in the service not only of my people and my prophets, but of my goddess. And it was at that exact moment that John Carmichael was snatched from the universe into the darkness of the void. And he's back.
Okay, so it was me who died. Okay.
It was you who died, yes.
That was the day I died.
Everything I did, it was for revenge. It was for my people. It was for personal glory. And it was for my goddess. And that last one was particularly tricky, John, because she doesn't have much of a taste for failure. And I paid the price.
Oh. Is she mad at you?
I don't really care what she thinks anymore. She's already made herself quite clear. And then you hear a gentle scraping sound on this side of her, the opposite side, against these beautiful wooden trellises.
Scraping sound, you say?
Mm-hmm.
What's the source of the scraping?
You can't see it. Just like some unseen force is moving the rug, some unseen object is scraping against the wooden banister.
Mate, does there happen to be some sort of circle or barrier that is around the area that we've always seen Zunia whenever we come to this place?
Nope, there isn't.
John is going to, again, kind of keep fiddling with the thingamabob, the dinglehopper. And he's going to send a message to Zunia.
Mm-hmm.
What is lingering at the edge of this space?
It's me. It's just me.
Can you elaborate? Will you elaborate?
She keeps talking out loud, out of the message area. The goddess has a special punishment in mind for those that fail her tests, especially those who were beforehand the most loyal. And none of us come out quite the same.
Well, Zoniel, I'm not sure if you are aware, but my associates and I, we've faced gods and monsters before. And we have the resources of the Court of Flores at our disposal. Would we not be able to assist you with whatever ailments the Queen of Spiders bestowed upon you?
No. I think I've rather gotten used to it. And as she says that, she grows, rising up into the air, a good 3 to 4 feet. And her legs meld together and split apart and stretch as she reveals
She's a rider, isn't she?
her true form.
Yep, exactly.
Asena, her lower half is an enormous spider.
What the?
And then just as soon as it began, it vanishes, leaving just her behind the throne.
I see.
You do
I
now. Yes.
suspected as much, yes. I didn't realize you were able to hide that, but
I have
it's
the
good to know.
entire court of Flouris's resources at my disposal to help me with my ailment.
Well, thank you for illuminating your situation.
You're a
Good day.
spider. Oh, I mean goodbye.
No, I think John has an idea that Asena would want to say something. He's got the perception and insight for that. He wouldn't
Mhm.
close out the conversation before Asena was ready.
Only in part. This is the shape bequeathed upon those that fail Lolth's tests. They are driven away from their own society to live in exile, usually fighting over scraps in the deep caves of the Spider Moon. I just already happened to be somewhere much more lush and fruitful. It's a little
Cool.
ironic. We were exiled to the Spider Moon so long ago, and now I'm exiled back to our ancient home.
That's ironic indeed. Yeah, maybe we should go.
Zoniel, I can't imagine the ill will that you hold for me, considering your situation. I did, on several occasions before our final confrontation, attempt ignorantly to convince you of another path, and despite the fact that you had to go through some hardships to find it, I am glad that you are here, and I hope that you can find some measure of peace in the work that you're doing. I believe that you are working to help the Court of Flouris and your own people. If a peace can be brokered, I think it's only by your assistance that it will happen. And when war does break out, I know that your advisements to the king are going to prove not only fruitful for the Court of Flouris, but beneficial to all of the elves in Pyresol. Thank you for your time. Have a good evening. And John has very much sobered up from earlier.
I'm the one that failed, John.
I don't lose, Zuniel. That was your first mistake. John kind of smiles and chuckles, trying to seem as innocent and not venomous as possible.
And so our heroes take their leave from the throne room at the end of a somewhat awkward conversation. And I don't know if he's any longer in the mood for revelry.
Or
maybe he's doubly in the mood.
John is no longer in the mood for revelry, but he already proposed to Asena what their plans were for the evening. So just in the pure fact that he doesn't want to be a Debbie Downer, he's not going to cancel their plans, but he is going to be very obviously not enjoying himself throughout most of the proceedings until the time comes when something may change. He seems to be distracted, has a lot on his mind.
Mm-hmm. Asena, do you want to go partying? You notice that John is sort of in his thoughts at this point.
I think that means that John should go party. I don't know why you would invite a spider to the party.
Well, I mean, I had assumed it's possible that she could have been a spider, but I was kind of hoping she got away before all of that, and it seems as though she didn't make the choice to switch sides and to try and help the betterment of this universe. It seems as though she's just surviving. She's making the best play that she can with the hand she was dealt. It's understandable, but disheartening. And while they're walking to try and find Medwithin, asking the guards before they leave where they may reside, if not at their domicile. And en route, John's going to be explaining to Thena just a bit of his adventures in Pyresol, kind of talking about how, recapping to her when he initially came here, teleporting through time and space, arriving on that weird planet that I know the name of, but Matt can't remember, begins with
Verdura.
Verdura, thank you. When he landed on Verdura in that ziggurat, and there were all those snake people going about their business, and John had temporarily positioned himself as a god before blowing people up, and then got together with the pilgrims, and they escaped that place before they were completely destroyed by all those abominations and all the madcap adventures he and this crew went upon, all the while being dogged and pursued by the agents of the drow of the spider moon, Zunio, chief among them, over and over again. Much like, and he describes Team Rocket chasing after those pesky kids that were running around Kanto. And of course, Asena has no idea what the hell John's talking about, and John doesn't care to explain himself. But that time and time again, she failed, had lost her ship, had lost her respect among her people, and still she kept coming. And no matter how often John had positioned that she could join with them, could run away from her people, become a pilgrim, and try and find a better life that didn't involve war and hatred. And she never took it up on it. And finally, this last time, he was hoping that either she would perish so she would no longer have to deal with these repeated failures and indignities upon herself and carry the hatred that had been burdening her for her whole life, or he was hoping that she would have turned herself away from her people, found comfort among the elves of Perianth, and while he had initially thought she had done so, it really seems like a marriage of convenience rather than an actual change of heart. And he's a bit morose because of that.
You wish you were dead.
I had wished that rather than continue these rather awful adventures that she found herself in, having to experience failure, regret, and punishment over and over again, that yes, I had hoped that either she would listen to my counsel and find another way, or that the mercies that I was giving her, I think, were not so. Had I merely killed her the first time that we came across her ship, she would have been spared all of the pain that she had to go through. She would have been just one more member of the Drow Armada, perished in the line of duty. She would have been honored, respected, and had not gone through so much pain and lost the favor of her queen. But just like always, John Carmichael makes the wrong choice, whether he kills them or saves them or offers them redemption or punishes them for their misdeeds. It always comes to bite him in the ass again, because no matter where I go or what I do, it seems as though God pisses in my breakfast. So rather than eat, I think I'm going to go drink. You're right, Asena. Let's go have some fun. But first, let's get met with it. I'm really hoping that she can change this evening around.
Hopefully our chat with Medwithin goes better than that other lady.
Well, she doesn't end up with 8 legs and a pissy attitude towards me. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, we should
Maybe she'll have
definitely lead
6
with
legs
that.
and be mad at you. I don't know. That would be lovely. For once, if it wasn't me.
You're able to find your way to Medwithin's quarters, where originally when she arrived in the court, she was just another courtier from a distant land trying to find favor and clout in the court of Fluris. But unlike most of the others, she succeeded. She has her own quarters in the palace, and it's all, as a gray elf, it's all decked out with silvers and, very mist flowing from magical fountains and such. And she is present when you arrive, and the door opens for you, even though the door opens for you, and you see she's inside the room. Again, huge, spacious, open suite. And she's got a bowl in front of her, an empty bowl, and her eyes are slightly glazed over. And by bowl, I mean like a silver bowl.
Yes.
And you can tell that she's just coming out of a trance. She rises gracefully to her feet, her pupils a little bit contracted compared to normal, and then glides across the ground to John, Asena. How good. Please sit down.
Thank you. Thank you kindly.
Good.
Oh, forgive me.
She has normal feet.
She looks down at her feet. She is, in fact, barefoot. Should I ask?
Oh, it's not really important, but if Asena would like to clarify, feel free to inquire. And John's gonna sit down and if it seems applicable, where he can put his foot up on some sort of.
Mhm.
Okay, good. Then you'll do just that.
Beautiful, like silvery wood footstools and stuff like that. Lots of cushions strewn around.
Perfect.
Low tables. Things
John
you
just
can't
sits
bump
down.
into and hurt yourself on.
Oh, good. John's gonna just sit down, take a nice, relaxing rest, and as Chester jumps up on his lap, John's just gonna uh, lean his palm into the back of Chester and just continue lightly stroking them as they burn.
I was just thinking of you two.
Maybe you summoned us with your mind.
No,
I wouldn't be surprised.
probably not. I was communing with Gaston.
Oh, interesting.
About what?
Magic. Ever since he first walked on this world, he's asked for my guide in the ways of the mind and in the ways of the mystic arts.
And I take it you've been sharing.
Yes. He has the knack for it, I think. Perhaps a little bit too constrained in some of his thinking, but completely liberated in others.
What is magic and technology? But go ahead. Sorry.
Well, he's still quite fond of you. He sends his well wishes, or I'm sure he would if he'd known that you were at my door, which he didn't, because I didn't know and I didn't tell him.
Oh no, it's quite all right. Yes, I mean we. What was it? It's been maybe a few days now since we last saw him. It's been so much. It all starts to blend together. But yeah, no, he's a very, very bright person. And what is magic? But a technology that maybe we don't fully comprehend. I believe his structure could lead to helping codify it possibly one day.
No, it's art. It's the deep inner recesses of the thoughts left unspoken, shaping our reality. You are very tall. She's looking up at Asena.
I'm not that tall.
Mate, how high is Medwithin right now?
So.
I figured. Okay, very good.
Again, she was just communing across time and space, and it was artificially induced.
Asena's gonna crouch down. Is this better?
She reaches out as if to touch your hair or your face, and then sort of checks herself and delicately pulls her hand back like she meant to do that. There's nothing wrong with being tall. You simply are. We all simply are. Some of us less simply than others.
John, I think we're not on the same level.
Would you like to be? Because we can make that happen. Maybe we don't go out. Maybe we just stay here and we explore the mysteries of time and space. What about you, Asena? You dabble in magic. I know that it's not anything you put a huge amount of merit into, but I've seen you perform more than just simple incantations from time to time when the mood strikes you.
Do you incant?
No?
It seems that the power would come from your movements. And she's like leaning over and looking at your arms. Your language is kinetic.
What is that gonna feel like?
Your power is in movement, yes?
Yes.
Not in books and ancient lost languages. It moves with you. It courses through your blood. It surges with your muscles. You can no more explain it than you can explain how to move your fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, But of course, just like with any simple exercise, the exhalation of breath, chanting, keeping pace, all those things are important. And I'm certain you're correct. There are the bulk of what Asena performs is movement based, but every now and then a little oomph, a primal surge is necessary.
They're the same, though. Our words of power are complex, but we've learned them. We are fluent in them. So is she fluent, and so does she direct the course of such energies through her
Met with my
body.
dear, we're saying the same things. You're just a little more elevated than I am right now.
Perhaps.
Actually, you're a lot more elevated than I am right now. I've lost my cool from earlier, unfortunately. Would you be able to acquiesce?
Oh yeah. When we met with the spider.
When we met with the spider. That's right.
Which spider?
Is there more than one?
There are countless throughout the cosmos. Some of them are real, and some of them weave webs in the mind. Which one did you talk to?
We speak of the spider that whispers in the ear of the king behind the court, the throne of the court of Flores, rather.
Yes. Zunio, yes.
Quick question. Did John get an idea previously the last few times we've been here how Medwithin feels about Zunio?
I don't know if he caught much of anything. Normally, she does a very good job of wearing her aloof, mysterious, unreadable face when she's in court.
Okay.
Yes. She showed you? You saw her. I suppose she would, given your history.
I pressed, and she couldn't help but, enlighten me.
I think she could have helped. What did you think of her, Asena?
Creepy.
Yes. She is still driven by hate.
Regrettably so, yes.
It's useful.
To a point. Yes.
Oh, like you can like control her because you just like play her emotions?
No, she's very, very clever and guarded, but her hate is focused, and it's moving in a direction that helps.
Yes, except that hate consumes you from the inside out, and eventually you have nothing more to give because you've spent it all on hate.
Well, maybe by then she'll have given enough.
Given enough to everyone but herself, yes. She's leaving nothing for her own wants and desires other than just what she knows, climbing the ladder and surviving.
I think she's killed people for the spider goddess. Sacrifices. Giving everything and burning out to an ember to spite that goddess. That's poetic. Perhaps it's right.
I am far too sober to be having this kind of a conversation. I'll ask you again, Medwithin, are you able to acquiesce in my request to elevate myself to your stature, or should I find somewhere else?
I could never turn you or you away. Come with me.
I think you could, but I appreciate you for...
I could, but I won't.
Exactly. John just kind of jumps up to his feet real quick, Chester bouncing off and running over towards Medwithin.
All right. And she starts preparing all sorts of mind-altering things for an in-house party.
Asena, are you going to be okay with remaining here, or would you prefer to go out for your revelry?
What? You can't just put me out there with all those. I guess they're not strangers, but they're kind of strangers.
They're strangers. You don't know them. I understand. Or this minty smell starts permeating through as boiling steam rises from what she's concocting.
Okay, first of all, you are very, very welcome, dear. Your mere presence is enough to alert everyone across the city that we've made our way back, and nobody would dare try and take advantage of you while you were here. Plus, we could send for one of our friends to be your guide if you really wanted. However, I have an incredible idea. Do you know that there is a tea so potent that merely imbibing of the vapors is enough to send you to cloud 9? And if
Not
you do
the tea again.
the tea, exactly. Now, here's the thing. Generally, the ordained vapor, John kind of winks at Medwithin as he is beginning to suggest this. If you imbibe such a
Why
thing,
do you look like a rock?
who is she looking at?
Asena.
Asena, okay.
I am a rock.
She's a rock.
Yes.
In any case, Rock, if you were to imbibe this tea, it would do more than merely transport yourself. It would take your entire psyche and completely remove yourself from this room, possibly even this plane of existence, depending on what exactly happens. Now, the only thing is, it could possibly kill you. I did this thing many, many, many years ago. It's how we discovered many of the machinations of the drow, the spider moon. But I'm wondering, what do you think? You want
It's
to give it a try?
very poisonous.
Incredibly dangerous.
Is
But she's a
that what
rock.
you're on right now?
I taste not of the waters, I breathe only of the mist. Except for that one time that we almost died. John, you're
There's always an
giving
exception.
bad advice.
I am giving no, this is not advice. I'm giving a suggestion. And what makes it bad? It's merely information, and Asena, aka the Rock, can decide to do with it what she feels. And
I'm a rock. Not much can harm me.
it's true.
It should be fine.
You're going to follow this man's suggestion?
Yeah, sure.
I've learned
Again, proposal more so than suggestion. And this is not forcing anyone's hand.
No, I've learned so much since we first crossed paths, John Carmichael, and not all of it from you. The pilgrims come and go through this court, each of them from their own world, and bringing news of their travels and their adventures. But their captain, Domnica Elena, is wise in her own way, and there's something I have learned from her. As she pours 3 cups of the tea and lifts it up, fuck it. And we're going to break. We'll be right back, folks.